Let's do an unboxing of my 3 new decks that I've created. This project consists of 2 Lenormand decks, which is a system of divination that includes only 36 cards, and then a playing card deck, which is how this project started. So I'm going to start with this deck first, and then we'll go on to the 2 Lenormand decks. This is Cerulean playing cards. It's a classic 54 card deck on woven cardstock, which is similar to bicycle cards. It comes in this tuck box with embossments and little hidden accents. Each card has a matching back, which is fully reversible, and each card is also hand illustrated and unique. So all the pip cards have their own illustrations that sort of fall within a theme. And then the face cards also have unique characters. And this is actually how this deck began, was for a way for me to get to know these 12 characters, which are actually characters that show up in the video game Kuzo that I'm creating with my brother. And so it gave me kind of a way to understand these characters and what they might look like and how they might interact in the world, and also in this like sort of ancient style. And it kind of snowballed into like a larger project, which then ended up including both the Cerulean decks. This is probably one of my favorite face cards that also shows up on the front of the box. And it was a really like refreshing project for me to work on after creating the Oracle of Many Paths last year, or the last 3 years, but releasing it last year. And that was a project that took a lot of my time and included a lot of color and was very detailed and tedious. And this felt sort of like a breath of fresh air from that experience. And it was a nice way to cleanse my palette. And it inspired me to make these next 2 decks that I'm going to show you also. It also comes with 2 Jokers, which features Kuzo, the character in the video game that we're working on, the main character that you play as. And you'll kind of notice these characters in the video game in a way, but it was more like a way for me to understand the lore and the backstory of the world that you explore through. And so this is sort of like a lore artifact from the game that exists in our reality. And now I'm going to move on to the Lenormand decks. This is the second playing card deck I've created. I made Open Portals back in maybe 2017, which oddly enough was also the blueprint for the video game that we're making. So this is sort of like a new updated take on that. And then we have the 2 Cerulean Lenormand decks. So I'll talk about why I made 2 of these in a minute, but the first one that I created was this one that's in more of a cream box. This is Cerulean Lenormand number 1. Similar to the playing cards, it has accents in the box, and the backs are identical but different from the playing cards as well. And it also comes with a small booklet that will get you familiar with Lenormand and how to begin, and will give you meanings for each card and so on. But I would definitely implore you to explore beyond this small booklet if this does pique your interest in Lenormand. I think it's a really beautiful form of divination that is a little lesser known than tarot, but can be really detailed and informative and kind of a really great storytelling tool. So Lenormand consists of 36 different cards. They always remain the same. This is Rider, this is Clover, Ship, House, Tree, Clouds, Snake, Coffin. Let me move these over. And Lenormand is interesting because no matter what the illustrations are on the cards, the meaning is always the same, which is why a lot of the time the illustrations are pretty simple. This is my second adventure into Lenormand. I created Green Glyphs Lenormand in 2019. And so this was like a really fun revisiting of something that I've worked on in the past, and it was cool to kind of see how much I've grown and how my understanding of this practice of divination has changed and grown too. This is bouquet, scythe, whip. This is birds, child. There's Kuzo again. Fox, bear, stars, stork, dog, tower, garden, mountain, paths. This one's inspired by a little nod to my previous deck, the Oracle of Many Paths. This is a little snippet of the map that you can assemble with the deck. Mice, heart, ring, book, letter, person number 1, person number 2, lily, sun, moon, key, fish, anchor, and cross. And those are the 36 cards of Lenormand. And you may already kind of understand what these cards potentially would mean. If you have any experience with tarot or divination, you'll find that Lenormand kind of has a really nice crossover. There's a few variations, obviously, but you'll see similar cards in Lenormand that you find in tarot, like the tower and the stars and sun and moon. But basically the main aspect of Lenormand is doing something called a grand tableau reading, in which you incorporate all 36 cards into a single reading, which is why I created this second deck. And so instead of creating a altar cloth that would be kind of large and you'd have to display every card at once, I've decided to make a second deck in an alternate colorway, which you would then use in your readings to determine the houses of Lenormand. So each of these would stay in a fixed place. House of the Rider is the first house, House of the Clover is the second house, and so on. And each of these houses have a meaning. And so when a card falls in a house, it kind of puts an emphasis on the house and what the house means for that card in that position. And when like the same card falls in the same house, it kind of is a big highlight of like, pay attention to this, like it's trying to speak to you. And so what you would do is you would shuffle the second deck, which I didn't do because I'm just trying to show you each card and how they are similar yet a little different. But you would shuffle each deck or one deck and then put the other deck in order underneath it. And then you would perform your reading on top of the deck underneath, which would help you kind of understand which house each card falls in. And what's really cool about a grand tableau is that there are a lot of ways to look at it, and you could spend hours probably just picking apart the different pieces of the grand tableau. But there are several starting points, like looking for yourself, which would usually be marked as either card 28 or 29, which is person or person 2. And that's something you'd want to determine before you do your reading. And then you kind of look at the cards in proximity around you, look at the cards that are in your line, look at the corners of the tableau. They each have different meanings. And then you kind of slowly like piece together this story. And a grand tableau is really great for looking at a like 3-month chunk of time I like to use. And you can kind of see a little bit before and a little bit after, depending on where you fall in the tableau. And it's just a really like interesting way to kind of look at a snapshot of time, because these cards are vague yet cohesive enough to give everybody a sort of blueprint or a snapshot of your life and what you're looking at. For example, like money, which is represented by fish, is something that we all think about and deal with. Tower, which is represented by a workplace or an institution, sometimes the government. These cards kind of have like flexible meanings depending on the person asking the question and the situation, which was what allows them to kind of be so unique and magical. And yeah, this is just a little quick unboxing of the 3 new decks that I've created. I'm really excited to launch these. They're currently on Kickstarter at the time of this video. The Kickstarter is pretty short. It's only going to run for less than 2 weeks, and then everything will be available for pre-order at prismavisions.com. And if you have any questions, you want to learn more about Lenormand, we do have a lot of resources on our website that kind of get you started on different forms of divination and tools to help you grow your practice. So thank you for watching it all the way through this video, and I hope this finds you well. Bye.